iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz. The best or nothing.
Conrad, welcome to iHeartRadio Broadway.
Thanks. It's good to be here.
So, first and foremost, congratulations on Little Shop. I just told you a couple minutes ago I saw the show 2 weeks ago, and it's such a fun show.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, I'm loving doing it. It's such a great, well-oiled machine, and it's also just so intimate as well. I feel like the space that it's happening in is perfect for this show.
But I think the thing I love about the intimacy is it doesn't always feel intimate because there are moments that are happening where you get transfixed, where you feel like you're on a big Broadway stage at moments, but then you
Yeah.
have to go back and remember it's a small cast in a small theater. So I'm
Yeah.
curious what that's been like to be a part of what is an intimate show, but a big intimate show.
Yeah, I guess you're right. There we cram a lot of magic into a really small space, and it all seamlessly fits there. It all kind of everything works in harmony together. That you forget that you're in a 270 seat theater because there's so much, you know, the plank gets pretty big. Spoiler, but
Absolutely.
yeah, the puppeteers and the scenic, all of the designers, the creative team did an amazing job. So I mean, this is my first time ever replacing in a show, so it's been so amazing to come into something that has been so meticulously thought out, and you get that from the minute that you walk in the theater, that from every little detail
Mhm.
the way this theater has been transformed, you feel transported to Skid Row.
So, is it true you only had 2 weeks of rehearsal before you actually started performances?
Yes, yeah, no, I was supposed to have three, but I got COVID right before I started, so that took away one of my weeks, and so I only had 2 weeks of rehearsal, and yeah, it was really tough, especially recovering from COVID and then going straight into rehearsal. We're still understanding all of the things that this thing does to your body. So yeah, it's definitely been a great challenge.
I mean, and to go from 2 weeks right into performances, is there something about Seymour that you didn't know before going into rehearsal? Like, have you learned so much about who this character is, basically from like 2 weeks to now doing it almost every single day?
Oh wow. I felt like as soon as I saw the show, read the show, I mean, I was a fan of it in the 80s. My brother and I used to watch it, the movie. I really got who Seymour was at a really kind of core level. I know what it's like to not have a great like childhood and kind of coming from a really traumatic experience. I kind of tapped into his loneliness and his wishing for to get out of circumstances that he's been stuck in for a really long time. I think the thing that I mainly discovered in the last few weeks of performances, I mean, Tammy and Christian, working with the two of them, I has just been. I can't even put it into words. I'm still processing, and I still probably will be after I'm long gone from this show. Like the commitment that they both have is makes me a better actor every time I get to be on stage with them. It is really mind blowing, which I'm hoping all of your listeners will hear this and believe me when I say that they are something to behold in a theater.
They literally I was gonna say that this is very much a dream cast scenario. And to be on stage with both Tammy and Christian has to be very cool for you to be able to perform 8 shows a week with them. Um,
Yeah,
there's just a with Tammy in particular, there's just this new sense of vulnerability to her portrayal as Audrey that I'm
yeah.
curious what that's like performing against every single night of the week.
I mean, it makes you go for it makes you commit even harder to to the world of the show when you see somebody that has dropped in so deeply into a character, into the world of what we're doing. It makes you really fight for what you're doing, what your character needs, what your character wants, what you're trying to get from the other person. And that makes the world come alive because you're so deeply invested because of this other actor, because of Tammy investing so deeply in it. It just you get lost in it, and
And
it's wonderful.
she's amazing. And with Christian, he's such an amazing comedic actor on stage.
Yeah.
And with everything that he's doing and every single role that he's playing, are there moments where you just want to laugh out loud with what he's doing and what he's giving you? I know you're a professional and I know you're doing this as a job, but are there moments where you just want to go, man, come on?
Yeah, I mean, of course, there are I mean, I definitely try my best to keep moving and staying in the world of the show. But there are times where he is so good at he can tell, and he gets this little twinkle in his eye, and then he goes for you.
Yeah.
Which is so great because it really makes you, come alive on stage. That's one of my favorite things about going to see live theater is that it's right there. It's in the name of what we do. It's live and anything can happen.
Right.
And I can't think of a performer that I've worked with that is more alive in the moment every night than Christian.
Well,
Uh,
and it's the moment in the second act where he comes out in those very quick costume changes. And I'm sure because they're so fast, there are probably mishaps that happen, but he plays into them so well that
yeah.
it's got to be hard to keep a straight face sometimes.
It definitely is, but that's part of that's part of the reason I think it's so enjoyable is because he's so good at getting underneath, and that's the thing I love. He's good at getting underneath anything that you may have planned that you were going to do, because he's so spontaneous,
Right.
which I think is the ultimate goal as an actor is to be in the moment, and he definitely gets you in the moment right away because he's looking for any way to get under your skin, which I
And
love.
and with your role as Seymour, I never want to compare actors to actors, but there's a new level of complexity that I think you bring to your version of Seymour that I think is really fascinating to watch him build and grow throughout the two acts. So I'm
Thanks.
curious what it's been like to really get Seymour in your bones during this time.
It's a crazy thing because it happened so fast that I didn't. I'm the choices that I'm making and the way that it's kind of seeping in is happening in a way that I haven't been able to process yet. You show up and then and which has kind of been great because you don't have time to. I haven't had time to overthink
Hmm.
anything, which has been, something as an actor. I tend to really like to dive in, and a lot of times I need to be pulled out. Uh, so I haven't had time to overthink any of the things that I'm doing. But like I said before, I have felt this character's bones very deeply early on, and to feel that kind of core really early on, it makes everything else that is put on top of that much easier process wise. Yeah, it's something that I'm still kind of uncovering every night and finding new things every night.
And with performing the show, 8 shows a week, there's got to be some stamina that has to be built up playing this role because you're on stage for 98% of the show.
Oh
So
yeah.
have from going from day one to where you are now, what has been the build up to be able to really do this every single night?
I mean, it's all about coming home and resting and saving your voice during the day. Like this is one of the only interviews I've done because I try not to talk during the day because there's so much, it's Little Shop of Horrors is and very telling about what Seymour does during the show. It's he screams at this plant so much, and um, there's learning how to do that in a way that is sustainable for 8 shows a week. Also, learning how to do 8 shows a week after, the last show I did was Soft Power in November of 2019. And then the pandemic happened and everything
Right.
shut down. So this is my first time in a little over 2 years doing theater again. And it's reminding me how amazing people that do theater are, because such a grueling schedule to
And
only have
it's,
one day off.
I know, I can, especially with this show, with how much is being done on that stage, I can only imagine what that day off must feel like, to just take a breath and to just relax, because I'm exhausted watching you all on stage after 2.5 hours.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's really something that I hope changes in the future, that theater performers get 2 days off, because during your day off you're already thinking about tomorrow when you have to be back on stage, and using your voice and your body and your entire spirit and being, and that just it takes a toll that I don't think one day really lets people recover fully in the way that they should, and also in the way that they allows them to live healthier lives.
And it's so nice to see you back on a stage. And I'm curious, once you're done with Little Shop, which you're done in May, early May, what's next for you? What's the next project on the horizon?
Well, two of my friends and I sold a show called No Rice. That is my friend Kelvin Moonlow, who is coming back in Beetlejuice.
Who's amazing.
And great. Yeah, he's done a million Broadway shows. And my friend Jay Magis, who is making his Broadway debut in Moulin Rouge right now. We met during Here Lies Love back almost 10 years ago now. And we wrote this show that we sold, and there's no announcement that's been made, so I'm not allowed to say like who else is involved, but it's an exciting group that we're collaborating with. So right now we're finalizing our pilot draft, and hopefully we'll be shooting when Little Shop wraps.
That's amazing. And will we
Yeah.
eventually see you back on a theater stage, hopefully in the near future?
Oh, oh yeah, I hope so.
Is there is
I
there
mean,
is there like
yeah.
a dream role that you want? Is it one that hasn't been written yet? Are there playwrights that you really want to work with? Like, what's that next phase for you in the theater scene?
Yeah, I mean, I've also got this movie. Speaking of writers, up and coming writers, this comedian Joel Kim Booster, who is hilarious, wrote a movie called Fire Island that I shot this past fall, summer fall, with Bowen Yang and Margaret Cho and Joel, and that's coming out in June. And he's hilarious, and I can't wait to see what else he writes, and hopefully I can be a part of that in any way. And then also J.C. Lee, who was a writer on Murder for a couple of years. He has a show coming out on set in February or March with Second Stage, I think. And he's an amazing writer that I hope I can collaborate with when I'm free. And yeah, I like the classics. I mean, I always I've wanted to play Tom in Glass Menagerie, Hal and Henry IV Part One. I'm always up for revisiting the classic works that get to the heart of the human condition. I'm always really excited about.
Well, and I think that's what's so fascinating and lovely to watch with your career, is that you do the classics like The King and I, Little Shop, but then you're willing to then stretch the limit and go into more of the modern musical theater, modern theater, but then always go back to the classics, which I think
Yeah.
is a testament to who you are as a performer, but then also your education background too, with having your master's in theater.
Yeah, yeah. It's getting my MFA, and then also just doing regional theater, because a lot of times regional theater is they produce works that are established already, and I've been able to explore those works time and time again, and it feels like they're infinitely there's an infinite amount of things to mine from the works that have held up over time, because they really do express humanity in a really profound way. But yeah, I'm also really excited to do Here Lies Love, which is like, a completely brand new concept of a musical, and Soft Power, which turns a classic musical on its head. And I hope to do more of that, because I think those types of things are giving voice to our ever changing like society, and the world that we're living in. So yeah, I never thought about that, but I'm really happy that I get to do both of those things.
Well, and in the meantime, we can see you at the West Side Theater in Little Shop as Seymour. Conrad, thank you so much for joining me on iHeartRadio Broadway today. And we will 100% be back before you leave the show in early May.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much.
iHeartRadio Broadway, driven by Mercedes-Benz. The best or nothing.